We're back. We're actually filming and editing and posting a part 2 video. I know that I've teased part 1s of markets and then not followed through. But we're gonna follow through on this one because I have a lot to share with you. So grab your projects, grab your favorite version of tea because it's about to get spilled, y'all. I'm just gonna come out and say it. Quick disclaimer, this is not a video to bash someone's reputation or send hate. This is literally me just exposing behaviors that affected me and sharing my perspective for others who might be dealing with a similar situation, or if someone is treating you in a similar way. So let's get into it. Okay, quick edit in here. I will say I have filmed this video about 4 or 5 times now at this point, I think. And the first time I sat down and did this, I cried and bawled for 45 minutes. Didn't want that to be the vibe. Last night, I thought I did a pretty good job and then realized as I was editing that I needed to put more information. So you'll see me hop between outfits and backgrounds as I try to piece the story together for you guys. And just including what I think needs to be included that I forgot. Let's talk about what went really well at this market, and that is everything I made. Everything. It was a vibe, it was an experience, and I'm damn proud of it. So I'm going to insert the video here where I get to talk about how much joy it brought me, because I think that that was the best result that came out of this. So let's get into all of the cool things that I got to do for this market. I decided to make my own emotional support crawfish boil. And so I got super excited about making it just full on theme. Everyone always says in their videos, don't make too many items that are specific to the market. And I went the opposite way. But let me tell you how much fun and how much joy it caused me. I have never been able to batch make effectively, I feel like. And I got such a dopamine rush and so many ideas kept coming and coming that I lived and breathed this. I will post some pictures up on the screen as I'm talking so you can kind of see how it spiraled and kind of follow me down my dopamine trail that I was chasing a rabbit down. Let me preface this by saying I've never been to a official crawfish boil. I've been to one that my friend Jessica had at Easter. Her parents always threw a crawfish boil in their backyard, and they had like an adult Easter egg hunt, and so that was such a vibe that I had such a blast doing that. I'm allergic to crawfish and any shellfish actually. So I've never partaken, but I love a good theme. I love a party. I love a good vibe. So I was fully on board. So the thing that I remembered the most that I was kind of aghast at was that there was just newspaper laid out on tables and then a pot dumped of all the food that had been cooking. It shocked me. Maybe that's I don't know, the autistic coming out in me. So I was like, oh my God, I want to create that experience. So I got red and white gingham tablecloths. I got table runners that were newspaper print, and I bought all these tinfoil baking sheets. You know, the ones that you just like throw your meat in when you're grilling and stuff like that. And I decided, okay, I'm gonna have entrees and I'm gonna have sides, and it's gonna be like a whole experience where they come up. They can order entrees with their sides. It's gonna go in a takeout container. I had tongs. I had guest checks, so I could write their name like an order and be like, order up, here's your order, place it all in the to-go container. And yeah, I fell in love with it. I bought myself an apron. I really committed to it. So much so that I even like designed a menu board that I had printed at Walgreens, which I'll try to put the image here, and then I'll try to show you a mock-up picture that I had hung it up in my mom's house so you could see how it would look. So I had the pricing, combo 1, combo 2, combo 3, and yeah, I just got so excited. So I made mini meats, if you will, of crabs, crawfish, lobster, octopus, shrimp, which, oh my god, I love that shrimp. It reminds me of the shrimp from Shark Tale. Is it Shark Tale? Where he's like, he adopted his sister's kid and it didn't have any legs, and the whole monologue. I think it's Shark Tale, but I'm drawing a blank right now. Anyway, got so excited. So I made all the entrees first, and then I was like, okay, now I need sides. My issue was I could not find sides that were similar in size, so I ended up writing my own pattern for lemon slices, lemon drops, garlic, buttered potatoes, which I found another pattern, a pattern that I'll show later on for big potatoes that had a slice of butter and a bacon blanket, y'all. Like, how could that not be the cutest thing ever? I was so inspired that I made a mini version just without the bacon blanket. I couldn't figure out how to make that mini in like a time effective way. I also made my own pattern for a half cut purple onion. See, whenever you picked it up, the bottom of it showed like the rings of the purple and the white. Hopefully I have pictures of all these so I can show you, because they're all in storage right now because I moved. Anyway, that was like the main things. And then I made pickles, put them in a pickle jar, which I had never done before, but I know a lot of people do. They popped off. So if you're thinking about making pickles, make them, because I sold all but 3, and then I sold them the very next weekend, all 3 of them. So those did really well. Oh, I made mini corn on the cobs. What else did I make? I can't remember at this point in time, but I will put up a picture of like the sides and the entrees so you guys can see. Okay, so then I made big versions. So I made a giant corn on the cob, a giant lobster, the big buttered bacon potatoes, a giant garlic. I made salt and pepper shakers, a big version, a small version. I made lemonades. I made beers in like light, dark, and medium. I'm not a beer drinker. So like I had asked my friend's husband like what they were, just in case people asked. One's an ale, I remember that much. But yeah, I should probably know that. I still don't know that. And then I made some mini anchors, and I had also made mini beers that I was potentially going to put on keychains. I didn't get around to it, so my daughter was actually playing around with them and stuck one of them on the octopus keychains. Stuck one of the beer keychains, it didn't have a keychain on it, onto the mini anchor, so it looked like it was a drunken octo. That was a huge like hit. Everyone who saw the tiny beer didn't sell any of the mini anchors, but they were definitely like a piece that brought people in. Let's see, what else did I have? I also did something really cool. I got 10 pails, and I made a little bit like a medium size lobster, crawfish, and shrimp that had chef hats and pink bows, and they all had a slab of a butter friend in there with them, with like tissue of newspaper print. And then I was able to design and print the like a logo that I made that said Crawfest 8, which was the 8th year for this festival, and got special permission to sell those because most places don't want you making merch for the event that you are vending at. So yeah, even talking about it, like I was so stinking proud of like everything that I did. I don't know, I loved it. I had so much fun, and I was struggling a lot during that time frame. One of my kids was in the hospital, so it helped get my mind off things while I was sitting there. So yeah, it was it was about 3.5 weeks worth of work all together that was spaced out between February and March. But I had $5,500, around $5,500 worth of inventory that I took that I had not started with, that I made in that time frame to take. I made 30 of each of the entrees, and I think about 10 of each of the sides. I'll have to go back and look at my spreadsheet. But I of course didn't sell, sell out. Obviously, with not doing both days, I missed out on a lot of sales, but we still did really good. So that's what worked really well. I mean, I even had my chalkboard sign that I always use for my markets, but I put on one side, "Now serving girl dinner," which a lot of people thought was cute. And then on the other side, I drew a lobster chef that said, "Chef recommends treat yourself." So yeah, I played music. It was a vibe. And I really think that, like, I don't know, I enjoyed it. So that's what worked really well, is me leaning into the event theme. So that being said, I know that there's not like a lot of food specific vendors. I mean, everyone tries to have like a variety of things, but I enjoyed myself so much. I may try to cater my stuff more food related or kitchen, like dining experience related. So like everyone will get a takeout container with like the food themed items that I make. I'm also making a lot of bakery stuff right now, which is fun, and like a lot of pastries. I don't have another market on the books until September, so that gives me a lot of time to play with and like formulate an idea. But I think it's bringing me the joy that I got from planning this one. So I'm super excited to follow that and see where that takes me and how we grow that way. So let's get into why I crashed out, guys. Okay, so if you're still here for the tea session, this is how I met this individual. It was about a year ago. I met them at a parking lot market that was at the cafe that I was hosting a meetup, a crochet meetup at. I always like to go and support all the crochet vendors. So there was 3 in that market of like 10 or 12 vendors. But that's how I met and found out that we were vending my very first market she was vending at as well. So we kind of connected over that, and then I got to know her and tried to support her crochet endeavors over the course of a year. And that being said, she did invite me to do a market with her. It was a 2-day festival at a nearby town that we both live near. And so I agreed, and this is where it starts to get juicy. So I'm gonna insert the footage from last night here so you guys can kind of see what happened. Let's lay out the tea. I was at the hospital with my kids and texting back and forth, sending updates, letting them know that I was doing seafood stuff, sending pictures of my lobsters and stuff like that. And then at the end of February, I believe, it was either the last week of January or the last week of February. It had to have been February. I don't remember my dates exactly, guys. So I just know that towards the beginning of the market prepping of this, we actually got together in person and I finished my whips with them, or finished a large portion of my whips. They were able to see everything that I was making. They were making, of course, the things that they had discussed they were making, like their traditional market makes. And so I was so excited that, you know, we were doing completely different things, and that we could like support each other by having a variety of things that would draw people in. And so that person saw everything I was making and didn't say anything to me about that it made them uncomfortable, or even after I left, didn't approach me nothing. So fast forward to, I made a TikTok about making 30 crabs and posted the video, and that same day or the very next day, it felt pretty sudden. It felt like I posted it. There was no like or comment or anything on the video, but they immediately contacted me and said that they didn't want to seem like a bitch, but they thought that our work was too similar and they didn't want me bringing the crawfish that I was making. And by crawfish, it was a lobster pattern that I had already made 30 of. And it pretty much shocked me because I'll put my picture of my lobster crawfish and I'll put their picture. I'm not going to share names. I don't want it to get messy, but I just need to share my perspective of the fact that I had been so excited, prepping all of this work, going through a lot of personal things, and then was told that they didn't want me bringing that to the market. And I flat out said, I can't pivot that much. I have literally spent hours making all of this stuff. I went in a total different direction that you knew about. Like, I didn't want to do any of this. I could have made my normal makes, my frogs, my mushrooms, my everything, but I didn't want that to be the case because I didn't want there to be like straight out competition, like your mushrooms, my mushrooms, you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to have variety, so I went a completely different direction. And then to be told that I needed to stop kind of took me back, and then it made me sick to my stomach. And as a neurodivergent, I have chronic overthinking things, and I have a lot of I don't know exactly what the word is for it, I forget, but like I feel guilt like I did something wrong when I haven't done anything. And I just blame myself. I blame myself a lot for things that have nothing to do with me. So I spiraled for 72 hours. I was like, I don't know what to do. I can't pivot. I don't have enough time to pivot, to do different things. Like, how else could I be different? I didn't understand. So like, I really was like, well, maybe I can make a sushi bar. It's still food related. It's still kind of sea, that I could transition some of my sea stuff into the sushi bar. So I was like scrambling to make sushi items. And then I was like, well, I can make pickles, because at that time I didn't have pickles on the menu. And so I was like really trying in my head. And so like I texted them and was like, hey, like this is eating me alive. Like, I don't want to be in competition. I'll just back out. Like, if it's going to be an issue, I just won't do it, you know, offered that at that stage. And they said, no, it's fine. They're probably overthinking it. So I thought that was squashed. I thought we were good. And so then I was like, okay, well, I will really try to start promoting, because it was kind of like I didn't get on my promotions like I had wanted to, such as is life. So I made a flyer, and I'll put the flyer up here so you guys can see it. It was I just posted it on my Instagram and my Facebook at the time, and was letting people who followed me know that I was going to be doing an event, and kind of like a preview of what I was going to have. And I put on there that I was bringing food items, or like, you know, fiber, you know, 100% fiber, low cal items. I can't remember all the little puns that I had fun making up for my stuff. If you know me, you know I love making flyers and posters and that kind of thing. So I really got into that. I mean, this is the first event where I had mocked up a whole mini board, flyers, my pricing signs, everything matched. Everything was vibe. Everything was laminated, cut out. Like, oh, yeah, I was really happy that I got around to that for this event. So I posted that flyer. No like, no comment, no text of like, hey, that looked great, I want one, or can you do one for me too, that we can put both of our names on, since we're doing this together. Okay, no collaboration. We're doing a market together. We're not collaborating. We're not really communicating. And I got a text that said, how much do you charge people to make a flyer? Which instantly sent me into a shame spiral because I felt pressure like, oh, I should make one. I couldn't hack that. I was at the hospital at the time with my kid. And I just replied, I don't, because it causes me too much anxiety. I was just trying to be truthful with where I was at. They said they understood, and then they made their flyer. Now, I just want to say this. On their business page, they had never made a flyer before. Okay, great. Learn from me. I learn from other people when I'm following and watching. Take inspiration, but don't do it exactly. Don't copy and paste. So here's my flyer. Here's their flyer. Some items will have been blocked out to protect this person because I don't want to troll this person. I'm over it. They've been blocked. They've been removed from my socials, from my phone number. Like, I'm over it at this point. I'm not gonna waste any more energy after this video on this person. So I have very limited resources in my brain and in my life to give it to people who I feel like take advantage. So if you're my friend, I will lend you my talents, when possible. Like, I love helping others, but this didn't feel like helping others. This felt like very much taking advantage. So they posted that, which shocked me because it's the same color scheme. It's the same idea with the crochet item on the flyer. And that's the only opinions I'm going to give about flyer versus flyer. But then I had posted emojis and posted a blurb about, hey, come shop. The emojis are in the exact same order. These same emojis are used and are in the exact same order. So it was pretty obvious to me that was copied and pasted. Now, if they had said, after I'd said I couldn't make a flyer, like, oh, awesome, well, I really thought the flyer was a great idea. I'm gonna make my own, and, since we're collabing and we're doing the booth together, like, I'm gonna make it look like yours. Even that would have been, like, okay. Like, not really okay, but I would have, like, had a discussion with them. I would have been like, oh, where? I wasn't made aware. It was just posted. And then I was like, okay. So that all made me apprehensive before leading into this market. So I was told I couldn't bring my items, had the crash out after I made my social media post about the videos, and then about the whole flyer situation. So I was very, like, nervous in my gut to go and do this market. I just tried to make myself as different as I could. I made bao buns, I made sushi, and then I came up with the idea to do a U-shaped, which I had already known that I was going to do, like, a U-shaped on my side to where I had my 2 4-foot tables sticking out, because I'd even asked, like, is it okay to have 2 feet outside of the tent, because a lot of these markets allow us to do that, extend from our 10-foot space. They've been great about it in this town. So I assumed with the people walking around that I could extend out to, and they had said, yeah, no problem. They even, like, emailed since they got permission for me to vend with them, they had even emailed that it was okay for me to do the Crawfest logo idea that I had wanted to put. I wanted to put it on them, like, a printout of a menu and everything, but because I was having to, like, pivot a little bit, I didn't get around to making, like, an actual, like, takeout menu to put in the bag with people, which I will be doing on my next one that I do, because I don't know, I thought that was really fun, really memorable, and an experience, because I really like to provide experiences at the things that I do. So I was already spiraling a little bit, but I was determined to, like, have fun, and I even had my mom and my oldest volunteer to come help me set up. So we went there excited to make this happen. I had done a mock setup in my mom's kitchen, none of the items were exactly done when I did the mock setup, so you can see like strings hanging down, but you kind of get this concept of where I was going. When we got there, we were tent to tent. So I asked, I was like, I thought you said that people could walk. And she's like, yeah, you can walk. And it was raining and it was all things. And so we had to pivot immediately. So I immediately knew I could not do my little U shape that I wanted to do. I knew that I couldn't, people would have to walk into the tent with the weather. So I was thinking that we would do like, I would do a 6 foot and a 4 foot, and then maybe she could do a 6 foot and a 4 foot, or whatever tables that she had. I think it was like a 5 foot and a 6 foot. I'm not for sure. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. I wasn't paying much attention. And I think that she actually, we couldn't make that layout work because she didn't have a 4 foot. She had a 5 foot, I think, or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, it came out to where I only had one 6 foot table to the side. And so I was like, okay, it's fine. We're pivoting. It's fine. We're going to do the riser. We're still going to do my menu board. And I'll just be on the side taking orders. Like, I won't be able to give the full experience of, like, order up, ringing the bell, handing the guest check. You know what I mean? Like, the whole little play, cafe, kitchen thing that I had in my head. Which is fine. Sometimes, like, that doesn't happen with my idea. So I'm okay with that. But, like, I felt bamboozled at that time of, like, well, if this is the way it was last year, like, if you were tent to tent, why would you tell me that you could walk around? Like, it really confused me. And then with all the rain and everything, I just crashed out, you guys. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And so I left. It was the rain, it was the wind, but it was all the anxiety and the lead up of collaborating that really just was like, I can't handle it. I can't do it. So I went home. I pivoted to just a 6 foot table, figured out how to make it, and I think it turned out really cute, guys. Like, you can go back and watch part 1 to look at the table. I'll try to put like a little video, a TikTok that I made of like the setup so you can kind of see up on screen. But I was super proud of the way that it turned out, even though it wasn't like my original idea. I'm okay with pivoting. I loved what I was able to present. So based on everything that happened, I'm gonna leave it up to you guys to determine not who was in the wrong, but you know, I take things hard. Like, I'm sensitive. I like to act tough, but I'm not. I'm sensitive. So it was a learning lesson. I learned that I'm probably not going to collaborate with someone that I met just a year ago. I thought knowing someone for a year kind of let you know how they operate, but even though we operated the same events, we just had different ideas, or maybe it was just the lack of communication. And that's something I know that I can blame on myself, that I didn't communicate that I wanted to collab fully. I kind of just was like, yeah, let's do a collaboration. And then I tried to start the conversation of like, you know, how are we going to do setup? What are you bringing? When none of those questions were asked of me. And there wasn't a like, hey, let's do this and let's sell these items, or what's your best sellers and I'll bring my best seller. You know, like there was no communication, and that I'm going to lay the blame on myself for. And that's a huge lesson learned, that I need to communicate fully and need to put expectations out. But I didn't feel like, I felt like a add-on. I didn't feel like a full partner, even though we split everything evenly price-wise. Like, it didn't feel like I was like I fully owned the space. It felt like I could just take a little part of it. So next time I'm gonna know, like, hey, I paid for half that space. And in my head, like, outside of actually being there with the person, I was like, yeah, half of that space is mine. But like actually like enforcing it or like voicing it, very, very hard for me to do. I can handle confrontation with other people. I can sit there, I can mediate, I can do it. Do I like it? No. But when it comes to my own, I'm not very good at it, and I just shut down and try to take up as little space as I can. Years of trauma from growing up the way I did. Probably. Or, I don't know. That could be a whole melting pot of neurospicy stuff going on with that. I'll leave it up to you. I'm also gonna say this. I'm not doing a he said, she said. I'm just explaining the behaviors and the way that they affected me. I don't know intent on this person's behalf, but what I can say is that I'm okay now. I've processed it. It took me a long time to process it, clearly, with how many times I have tried to film and get my perspective out there. But I can be okay and I can move on and not invite this person back to my table. And that's simply like what I'm doing. Like, I will insert a clip of a guy that I think says it perfectly here.
Oh no, I want you to eat, just not at my table. I'm not bitter. I'm not wishing bad on you. I genuinely want you to win. I hope you build something. I hope it's great. I hope life treats you well, but you won't be doing it with access to me, not anymore. There's a difference in releasing what happened and reopening the door that it happened through. I can be at peace with the past without pretending it didn't teach me something. And what it taught me is that your name doesn't belong on the guest list anymore. It's not because I'm angry, it's just I'm aware now. You ate at my table before. You used that proximity to take from me. You used my generosity as an opportunity. You used my trust as a loophole. And when I finally looked around and realized what was missing, your fingerprints were everywhere, all over it. Some people aren't your enemies. They're just not your table people. They show up when there's something to gain and disappear when there's something to give. They consume what you build without contributing to how it got built. Judas broke bread at the same table, laughed at the same jokes, had the same access. Jesus didn't stop loving him, and knowing didn't make him bitter. It made him discerning. So I rebuilt the table, new chairs, new standards, new guest lists, and unfortunately, your name's not on it. Not out of hate, but out of wisdom. Because not everyone who sits with you is eating with you. Some of them are eating off you. And the only way to tell the difference is to watch what happens when you stop serving. So just to be clear, I don't want you to starve. I just refuse to feed someone who bit the hand that was already given freely. So eat well. Just so.
Okay, I just cried my eyes out off camera and came back because this next part is really the part that sealed the deal for me to remove this person from my life, from socials, from contacting me. They're blocked on everything. Thought they were blocked on everything, but they viewed my story on Instagram 2 days ago, so make sure to not restrict accounts, block them. Anyway, if you are if you are a single woman or a woman doing markets alone, there's weirdos that come out at markets. I've had my fair share of them. My first one, I had a man stay at my tent for about 2 hours. Like, the sun was going down and he would not leave my tent. And the worst thing was that he was staff for the event and was security. I didn't feel scared at the time but I just wanted him to leave me alone so I could pack up and leave. And then he tried to follow me to my vehicle, and I tried to separate myself so that I could remove myself from him and pack up. And then the very next day, when I came back and set up my booth and stuff, he came back by and said he ran a background check on me. All this weird stuff, like he'd taken one of my business cards, looked at my phone number, like requested me on Facebook. It gave me really like red flag vibe. So that was like my experience with that. And so because of this person working most of the events that I work at and me just being by myself, her and her husband were like, hey, if you need a break, or hey, if something happens, call us. And they would come down and stand there for a little bit to help, like if there was something weird or going on. And so they knew about this guy. I told them a story about it. They had even helped me at another event that the guy was at that kept circling my booth, but he didn't ever stop by because this lady's husband was there with me. to kind of scare him away. So we had crawfish, and then the next weekend was red fern, and that security guy was there again. And I get a phone call Friday towards the end of the day and said, hey, that security guy, that creepy security guy is on his way to see you. And I said, is to see me specifically? Yeah. He just came by the booth and thought that I was you, and he's heading down your way. And I was like, why would you tell him where I was at? Like, if he asked about me, like, I'd say, oh, I don't know, like, maybe she's here, I don't know if she's here this year. Or if he wanted to say I was there because he didn't want to lie, like, don't give him directions to my booth. And then I was like, can you send your husband or a friend or somebody this way? And she's like, oh, they're gone now. Okay, I gotta go. Bye. Meanwhile, I was like, I hate you. Like, why would you do this to me? I'm on my own. I don't have anybody here. And then I got hung up on. Like, just ended the call because I'm assuming that they got customers. But it made me feel very unsafe and alone. And I was very shocked by it. So he came by, and this time they, I guess, were wearing body cameras on their vests. So he was like, hey, do you remember me? And I was like, he's like, I think your friend told me that I scared you last year. So she had a whole conversation with him, letting him know that he had creeped me out. Like, why would you sit and have a conversation with this dude about me? Like, I don't get that. I don't get that. I don't, there's no valid reason for you to have that conversation with him. There's not. So I just looked at him, I didn't communicate because I didn't want him to stay there. I felt very scared. I had my phone in my hand and was trying to figure out what the emergency number was for, like, contact for the event. It was on paperwork, but I was, like, trying to discreetly pull it up. And he was like, just know that you saved me last year. Talking to you saved me. I didn't have anybody, and talking to you saved me, which, okay. That was weird. Anyway, that experience was weird. He walked off. I tried to call her after he walked off, and she didn't answer. And then she texted me that she was sending someone down my way who never came down that way. So I was beyond upset because I felt like now she was putting my safety in danger. And that's what sealed the deal for me. I was very, very mad and upset. The next day I came back. I didn't talk much to her. I didn't want to ruin the festival vibes. I didn't want to have an argument. I didn't want to, it just wasn't the timing to have that kind of conversation. Her husband did come by and her friend came by, and I was very candid with them and told them that I was upset with her for it. And they said they understood why. They didn't understand why she was doing that. And I had just talked about the security guy. I hadn't talked about the issues with Crawfest, which I was planning to approach her about before Red Fern happened. So needless to say, I just learned community over competition is great, but just be leery of working with others, trusting others. You don't know who you're trusting or who these people are, which sucks to say. Like, you can't believe the good in everyone. I hate that. Like, I want to believe the good in everyone. Sorry guys, I'm trying not to get emotional about this. But I will just say this. I learned my lesson, and I pray every day that whatever lessons I'm supposed to learn, that I will learn them graciously. And so this is me trying to learn that graciously, that hey, don't trust every single person. Branch out, try something different, like committing to the theme instead of avoiding it. And yeah, that's all I have for you today. See you guys later. Gotta go. Bye.